Brew Nation, thank you so much for joining me from my home work office. I apologize for the mess. Actually, I've been doing some reading. Look, you guys don't care about that. You're here for the title. The title says, "What's in an investigator site file?" So I can't actually show you. I'm looking, trust me, I'm looking right at my electronic regulatory system, which is my otherwise known as an investigational site file or reg binder. And by the way, we talk about this in this book. Get it? Please help it maintain its #1 bestseller status in medical research. It's a tough category during a pandemic to remain #1. So please, thank you so much for checking it out. We talk about regulatory a lot in that book. So I'm looking at Creo, my e-reg system, and I just picked a random study, right? I've been fortunate enough in these 9 months to get 5 studies. So I just picked a random study. And shout out to Samantha Anderson, who does our everything regulatory for us as far as filing in the investigational site file. She organized it as per the table of contents from the actual investigator site file, like the physical one that we have, which we don't really use. It just stores templates. Upload it to the cloud. So the first section, there are 15 sections. Okay, so bear with me here. I'm going to try to go through this, keep this at the sweet spot that YouTube likes, between 7 to 12 minutes. Let's see what we get. Section 1, study team contact information. Section 1.1, within that, it's the only section, site communication matrix. This tells you who's on the study, who's your CRA, who's the project manager, who's the in-house CRA, who's the medical monitor. It tells you, the site, who you can contact as far as communicating for study, any study related issues, the numbers. Simple enough. Section 2 is protocol documents. So this one has section 2.1, protocol and amendments, the signature pages only. And section 2.2 has the actual protocol and all the amendments. So when I click on protocol and amendments, I actually get, for this particular study, they want the coordinators to sign the protocol as well. So, and I happen to be the coordinator for this study. So the protocol signature page is there for the coordinator, and the protocol signature page is there for the PI. And there is, I guess there's, I don't know why there's 2 of them in here, but there's 2. Let me check if they're the same thing. Final version 1.0. And this way you always got to check your regulatory, because there's a lot of amendments. Final version 1.0. Oh, I see why. There are 2 different pages in the same version for the PI to sign. So, okay, got it. Okay, next section is the actual protocol itself. So right now we have protocol amendment. It tells you the list of changes for version 2. And then it has the latest protocol amendment, which in this case is 2.2. So always make sure you have the most recent version of the protocol. It's super important. Even CRAs forget this sometimes. Like, let's say a protocol's just been amended. You're supposed to make sure the site is trained on the new version of the protocol. So always make sure you have the new version of the protocol. And if you're a site, this is why it's good to have the list of changes. It's like a cliff notes of what changed from the last version to this one. As soon as you get that protocol amendment, you got to start implementing it on the study. So if the change says blood draws will be done every 30 minutes as opposed to every hour for the PK visit, for that visit day, you got to do it of what it says, what the changes were. Okay, so as soon as it's approved, you got to do it, and you got to make sure your staff is trained on the new version of the protocol. Section 3, investigator brochure. So section 3.1 is the investigator brochure receipt. So that's the page that the PI actually signs. And then section 3.2 is the investigator brochure and any other amendments. Section 4 is regulatory / site staff. So this one has 4 sections. Ready? I know it's super exciting stuff. Section 4.1 is the 1572 form and all versions. Right now, we're only at one version. Bonus points for anyone who can answer this question. When does a 1572 need to be updated? We're not getting into that in this video, trying to keep it in the YouTube sweet spot. Section 4.2, financial disclosure statements. So here I have 1 sub I, 2 sub I, 3 sub I, and my PI, all signed financial disclosure statements. Section 4.3 is the CVs for everyone. So here's 1 coordinator, 2 coordinator, here's 1 sub I, 2 sub I, 3 sub I, PI, and another coordinator. So everyone's CV's in there. Medical licenses, we have the NP, the other NP, the other MD, the PI, who's an MD, and then for this particular study, they have a COVID statement, which I don't know, probably doesn't need to go here. So I got to talk to Samantha about refiling this one. Samantha, I know Samantha watches too. Not only is Samantha a fantastic study coordinator and a huge help on this study, but she watches every video. And she's one of the CRC Academy's best students. So Samantha, I think you filed this 4.4, the COVID statement under medical licenses. It should probably go, I don't know, miscellaneous, somewhere else, not licenses. Okay, section 5 is training. So 5.1 is general training and certifications. So in there, I have GCP, IATA, GCP, IATA for relevant staff, and looks like that's it. Section 5.2 is study-specific training records. So right now, we just have been initiated. So we have the SIV training log. That's been the only training. If the protocol ever gets amended, we put more training materials here. If we ever get new staff members, we put their info here. Keeps everything in order. Section 5.3 is study-specific training materials. So section 5.2 was study-specific training records. Section 5.3 is study-specific training materials. These are the training slides that we have provided by the sponsor. Section 6 is study logs and manuals. So 6.1 is delegation of authority log. 6.2 is screening and enrollment log. 6.3 is protocol deviation log. 6.4 is subject identification log. And 6.5 is other miscellaneous, which here we have source mapping and guidance, which I guess is an appropriate place for this. Section 7, so good job, Samantha. Section 7 is IRB documents and signed informed consents. So section 1, we're going to have, well, actually, where it says signed informed consents, you as a site, you have the option to not file signed informed consents in the reg binder or in the investigator site file. So what we're going to do, Samantha, if you're watching, we got to write a note to file, and you please write it, Samantha, and file it. For this study, site keeps signed informed consents in subject source documents, not in the e-reg. Even though sometimes sponsors, and I know Samantha just put exactly what the sponsor wanted, but a note to file can suffice in this case. Section 7.1 is IRB approvals. So right now we have the approval as a site to screen. Section 7.2 is IRB submissions. So we submitted a privacy statement, and we've submitted terms of use for the EDC. I think that should be in miscellaneous too. Section 7.3, IRB correspondence. So any letters, emails we send to the IRB or they send us go in there. We don't have anything yet. Section 7.4 is informed consent, the latest version and all versions. Here we have the latest version. Section 7.5 is the IRB membership list and compliance statement. We probably should put the roster in there. So it's another to-do for Samantha, who's our coordinator and regulatory specialist. Section 7.6, where it says signed informed consents, we should just put a note to file that says signed informed consents will be kept at the subject level. Section 7.7, additional IRB approved subject facing materials. So this is the patient-facing rating scales, surveys that you give the patients, as well as information on how to do certain things for the study. For this study, they have a electronic PRO system, so how they could use that, and also advertising material. No, sorry, advertising materials in the next section, which is section 7.8, additional IRB approved recruitment material. So it's all social media ads that have been approved by the IRB and everything else that entails. Section 8 is investigational supplies. So this is where when we receive an IP shipment, which we received today actually, the paper that comes with it or whatever documentation came with any investigational product shipment to the site needs to go in this section. Section 9 is so I'm going to do that tomorrow, Samantha. Section 9 is clinical laboratory. So this would be like lab reference manual. It would go in here, or a nota file saying where the lab reference manual is kept. Section 10 is SAEs and safety. So any SUSARs that we get as a site, I'm not going to get into what a SUSAR is. Again, this is beyond the scope of this video. Get the book, watch the 5-hour video. They're going to go in here. 11 is any monitoring activities. So like confirmation letters, follow-up letters, monitor visit logs, those kind of things go in here. Section 12 is electronic data capture. So we have the user access request for everybody. We have the signature page from the PI that he understands that his digital signature is the same as his physical on, blah, blah, blah. Anything related to EDC goes in there. Section 13, site communication. Anytime we communicate with the sponsor or the CRO, copies of those emails should go in here, ideally. Now, does that happen? No. Most sites don't put every single email they send in this, but I would say important communication that you as a site want to make sure is documented and that you have a copy of should go in the site communications folder. And then section 14 is agreements like contracts. Again, our site does not put contracts in the investigator site file, so we put a note to file in there stating contracts, budgets, and agreements are kept in the study director's office. That's what that should say. And then section 15 is miscellaneous. So here we put our SOPs, site equipment calibration documents, and note to files, and anything else. And so that's it. That is hopefully relatively short for going through an entire investigator site file reg binder. Good job, Samantha. As you can tell, this is a work in progress. We've got your job as a site, or if you're in charge of regulatory at your site, it's never done because there's always updates, there's always new things. So this is it. Hopefully, I help somebody. Take care, Guru Nation. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Please do. And let's help continue keeping this book #1 in medical research on Amazon. Bye-bye.